Commander Ta Jun Kim stared at the holographic map. Another blue dot turned red. Another system lost. He rubbed his tired eyes and sighed. That's the third system this month, he said. The war room was quiet. Only the soft beeping of machines broke the silence. The alliance of 7 worlds was losing the war. Everyone knew it. 10 years of fighting against the Nelvari hegemony had left them weak. The Nelvari were strong, cruel, and seemed to have endless ships. Lieutenant Du Hyun Park entered the room. His uniform was wrinkled, and dark circles marked his eyes. No one in the 4th Fleet had slept well for days. "Commander, there's a message for you," said Du Hyun. "It's marked as urgent." Taijun nodded and walked to his private office. The message was strange. A new species wanted to meet with the Alliance. They called themselves humans. "What do they want?" asked Taijun. "They say they can help us win the war," replied Du Hyun. He didn't sound like he believed it. Taijun laughed. It was a hollow sound. "Win the war? We're barely surviving." "There's more," said Du Hyun. "They claim they can end it in less than a day." Taijun turned sharply to his lieutenant. "That's impossible. Is this some kind of Nelvari trick?" Du Hyun shook his head. "We checked. They're from a planet called Earth. They've been watching our war from afar. They have technology we've never seen before." Taijun walked back to the holographic map. Red dots outnumbered blue dots 3-1. The Alliance homeworlds blinked in warning colors. The Nelvari would reach them within months. "What does Admiral Choi say about this?" asked Taijun. "He wants you at the meeting. The humans will arrive at Station Nexus 7 tomorrow." Taijun nodded slowly. "I'll be there." That night, Taijun couldn't sleep. He looked out his viewport at the stars. Somewhere out there, a new species was coming. A species that thought they could do what the Alliance couldn't do in 10 years of bloody war. Part of him wanted to believe it. Most of him knew it was probably false hope. The next morning, Taijun prepared to leave for Station Nexus 7. As he boarded his shuttle, Du Hyun handed him a datapad. "This just came in. The Nelvari took System 459. They're moving faster than we thought." Taijun's hand tightened on the datapad. "Then we'd better hope these humans can do what they claim." As his shuttle jumped to light speed, Taijun wondered what kind of beings these humans were, and if they really could end a 10-year war in a single day. Station Nexus 7 buzzed with activity. The news of humans coming had spread fast. Everyone wanted to see these strange new beings. Admiral Jae-ho Choi stood tall at the docking bay. His gray uniform was perfect, not a wrinkle in sight. 6 armed guards stood behind him. "Do you think they can really help us?" asked Taijun, now standing beside the admiral. Jae-ho's face remained stern. "We will see. Trust nothing until it is proven." A sleek silver ship approached the station. It was unlike any ship Taijun had seen before. No visible weapons, no large engines. It was small, maybe big enough for 10 people. The ship docked with a soft hiss. The doors opened, and 5 humans walked out. Taijun blinked in surprise. They looked so normal. 2 legs, 2 arms, 1 head. They could almost pass for people from the water world of Aquinas. The leader stepped forward. She was a woman with short black hair and bright eyes. "Admiral Choi, I am Dr. Ha-Wan Lee of Earth," she said in perfect Alliance language. "Thank you for meeting with us." Jae-ho nodded stiffly. "Welcome to Nexus 7, Dr. Lee. We are curious about your claims." They moved to the meeting room. The walls were clear, showing the stars outside. The human team sat on one side, the Alliance members on the other. "We have been watching your war with the Nelvari," said Dr. Lee. "We stayed hidden, learning about both sides. And now you think you can end our war?" asked Jae-ho. His voice showed his doubt. Dr. Lee nodded. "We can. Our technology is far beyond yours or the Nelvaris." Do Hyun laughed. "No offense, But your ship doesn't look very powerful. One of the other humans, a man with kind eyes, smiled. Appearances can be misleading. You've been in space for what, 100 years? Asked Tajun. The Alliance has been traveling the stars for over 1,000. The Nelvari even longer. Time doesn't equal progress, said Dr. Lee. Our path was different. Jai-Ho leaned forward. Prove it. Show us this superior technology. Dr. Lee touched her wrist device. A hologram appeared above the table, showing detailed information about Nelvari ships. Information the Alliance had never been able to get. How did you get this? Asked Jai-Ho, his eyes wide. We have ways to see without being seen, she replied. And we can do much more than spy. Dr. Lee stood up. We propose a demonstration. Let us engage a small Nelvari patrol. Then you can decide if you want our help. The room fell silent. Then Jai-Ho nodded. One ship against a Nelvari patrol, he said. If you succeed, we'll talk more. Dr. Lee smiled. One ship is all we need. The command center of Station Nexus 7 was packed. Everyone wanted to see what the humans would do. Admiral Jai-Ho had chosen a Nelvari patrol near the edge of the system. 5 warships, each one powerful enough to destroy a small moon. Your ship is ready, said Jai-Ho to Dr. Lee. She nodded and spoke into her wrist device. Captain Kang, you are cleared to begin. The main screen showed a small human ship moving away from the station. It was called the HFY Thunderbolt. The ship was tiny compared to Alliance vessels. Captain Yunji Kang's voice came through the speakers. This is Captain Kang. Beginning approach to Nelvari Patrol. Alliance observers, please watch carefully. Taijum crossed his arms. He didn't believe the humans could do anything against 5 Nelvari warships. 1, maybe. But 5? Impossible. What exactly is your ship going to do? Asked Du-hyun. Watch, said Dr. Lee with a small smile. On the screen, the Thunderbolt moved toward the Nelvari Patrol. Then something strange happened. A ship seemed to flicker, like a bad hologram. We've lost track of the human ship, said an Alliance officer at the sensor station. It's gone. No, it's not, said Dr. Lee calmly. We're still there. For 3 minutes, nothing happened. The Nelvari ships continued their patrol, unaware of any danger. Then, without warning, all 5 Nelvari ships went dark. Their lights turned off. Their engines stopped. They began to drift in space. What just happened? Asked Jai-Ho, his voice barely a whisper. The Thunderbolt appeared again on the sensors, moving away from the disabled ships. Captain Kang to Station Nexus 7, came the voice. Demonstration complete. All 5 Nelvari ships have been disabled without destruction or loss of life. The command center erupted in shocked voices. Taijum couldn't believe what he had seen. 5 Nelvari warships, taken out in minutes without a single shot fired. How? Asked Jai-Ho when the noise died down. How did you do that? The Thunderbolt docked with the station 30 minutes later. Captain Kang, a woman with sharp eyes and a confident walk, entered the command center. We used a combination of quantum field manipulation and targeted electromagnetic pulses, she explained. We made ourselves invisible to their sensors, then shut down their systems. But Nelvari ships have the best shielding in the galaxy, said Du-hyun. Nothing can get through. Captain Kang smiled. Not nothing. Just nothing you've seen before. Admiral Jai-Ho looked at Dr. Lee. If you can do this to 5 ships, we can do it to 5,000, she finished for him. But we need your permission to enter the war officially. Jai-Ho looked at Taijun, then back to Dr. Lee. The Alliance Council will need to vote, but after what we've seen today, I think I know the answer. Deep in Nelvari space, the Supreme Commander slammed his fist on the table. The holographic display flickered. It showed 5 of his warships, dead in space. How? He roared. How did this happen? No one spoke. No one dared. The Supreme Commander's anger was well known. Those who faced it rarely lived long. "Our ships were attacked by an unknown vessel," said a brave officer finally. "It used technology we have never seen before." The Supreme Commander narrowed his 6 eyes. "Who would dare? The Alliance has nothing like this." "It wasn't the Alliance," said the officer. "It was something new." Back at Station Nexus 7, Intelligence Officer Min Ho-yoon rushed into the meeting room. The humans and Alliance leaders were still talking. "Admiral Choi," he said, trying to catch his breath, "I've intercepted Nelvari communications. They're planning to attack our homeworld." The room fell silent. The Alliance homeworld was where billions of people lived. If it fell, the war would be over. "When?" asked Jai-ho, his face pale. 3 days, said Min-ho. "They're gathering their entire fleet. Thousands of ships." Dr. Lee looked at Captain Kang, then at the other humans. They seemed to share a silent conversation. "This changes things," said Dr. Lee. "We need to act now, not after your council votes." A new voice joined the conversation. It came from Dr. Lee's wrist device. "This is General Sung Min Wong of Earth's Defense Council. We are prepared to offer full military intervention. We can stop the Nelvari attack." Jai-ho looked suspicious. "Why would you risk your people for us? What do you want in return?" "We have our reasons," said General Wong. "As for what we want, we can discuss that after your people are safe." The Alliance leaders moved to a private room to talk. The debate was heated. "We can't trust them," said one leader. "We know nothing about these humans." "We have no choice," said Ta-jun. "You saw what one ship did. They might be our only hope." While they argued, a shadow moved in the air ducts above. A Nelvari assassin had infiltrated the station. It crawled silently until it was above Dr. Lee's room. The assassin dropped down, blade ready to strike. But before it could move, a bright light flashed. The assassin froze in place, unable to move. Dr. Lee didn't even look surprised. She tapped her wrist device. "Security breach contained. My personal system detected the threat." 2 Alliance security officers burst in, weapons drawn. They stared at the frozen assassin. "How did you?" one began. Dr. Lee smiled. "Let's just say I came prepared. The Nelvari are desperate. They know what we can do to them." When Admiral Jai-ho heard about the assassin, his decision was made. The humans had just saved one of their visitors. Maybe they could save the Alliance too. The Alliance Council room was filled with tense voices. 20 leaders from 7 worlds argued back and forth. Some wanted to accept human help. Others did not trust these strangers. "We vote now," said the head counselor, an old man with white hair. "Our time is short." One by one, they cast their votes. The room grew quiet as the final count appeared. 12-8, announced the head counselor. "We accept human assistance." Admiral Ji-ho nodded and left to tell Dr. Lee. He found her waiting calmly, drinking something that smelled like flowers. "The council has voted yes," he said. "We accept your help." Dr. Lee stood up. "Good. We need to make this official." They signed the agreement in the main hall. Dr. Lee added strict conditions about what would happen after the war. The Alliance would help rebuild Nelvari worlds. No revenge would be allowed. "You're very concerned about the Nelvari," said Jai-ho. "They're our enemies." "Today they are," said Dr. Lee. "Tomorrow they could be friends. We've seen many wars end this way." News came that a human fleet had arrived. Just 50 ships. They looked small next to the massive Alliance vessels. "That's all?" asked Ta-jun when he saw them. "The Nelvari have thousands of ships." "It's enough," said Captain Kang with a smile. A new human arrived on the station. Admiral Jun Seo-ko was older than the others. His face showed he had seen many battles. "Admiral Ko will command our fleet," explained Dr. Lee. Jun Seo bowed slightly to Jai-ho. "Your ships will follow my lead. I promise we will protect your homeworld." "How can you be so sure?" asked Duvyeon. You're outnumbered 20-1. Numbers aren't everything, said Junseo. Back on Earth, I fought in the Unification Wars. My forces were always smaller. We never lost. Captain Kang gathered the Alliance officers in the war room. She showed them how to work with human ships. Our vessels will create safe zones, she explained. Your ships must stay within these zones. What about communications? Asked an Alliance captain. We'll handle that, said Captain Kang. The Nelvari will try to jam signals. Our systems can't be blocked. Some Alliance officers still looked doubtful. Captain Kang noticed. I know 50 ships seem small, she said, but think of what one ship did to 5 Nelvari warships. Now imagine what 50 can do. As the meeting ended, Taijun approached Admiral Ko. I want to be on the front line, he said. Junseo studied him. You don't fully trust us yet. I want to see for myself, admitted Taijun. Junseo nodded. Your ship will join mine. Be ready to leave in 1 hour. As Taijun left to prepare, he wondered if he had made a mistake, but he needed to see with his own eyes if these humans could really do what they claimed. Sarah stood at the edge of the old wooden dock, her eyes fixed on the misty horizon. The morning air was cold and damp, sending small shivers down her spine. She pulled her worn blue jacket tighter around her shoulders and took a deep breath. Something felt different today. The usual quiet of the small fishing village seemed charged with a strange energy. Seagulls circled overhead, their cries echoing across the water in a way that made Sarah feel uneasy. She had always been sensitive to changes, and today something was definitely not right. In her pocket, she felt the smooth stone her grandfather had given her years ago. It was an unusual rock, dark gray with tiny flecks of silver that seemed to shimmer when caught in the right light. He had told her it was special, but never explained why. Now, as she ran her fingers over its surface, the stone felt warmer than usual. A fishing boat slowly approached the dock. Old Tom, the most experienced fisherman in the village, was at the helm. His weathered face looked more worried than Sarah had ever seen before. Something was clearly troubling him. As the boat drew closer, Sarah could see his hands were shaking slightly as he guided the vessel. "Morning, Tom," she called out, trying to sound cheerful, but her voice came out as a nervous whisper. Tom looked up, his eyes meeting hers. For a moment, he said nothing. Then he spoke, his voice low and serious. "Sarah, you shouldn't be here today. Something strange is happening." Her curiosity grew instantly. Sarah had always been someone who wanted to know more, who couldn't resist a mystery. "What do you mean?" she asked, taking a step closer to the boat. The old fisherman glanced over his shoulder, as if checking that no one else was listening. The mist around them seemed to grow thicker, blocking out the rest of the village. It was like the world had shrunk to just this dock, this boat, and the two of them. "There are things in these waters," Tom said slowly, "things that shouldn't be disturbed, things that have been sleeping for a very long time." Sarah's heart began to race. The smooth stone in her pocket suddenly felt like it was burning. She didn't know it yet, but her entire life was about to change. The quiet morning was just the calm before something extraordinary was going to happen. The wind picked up, carrying with it a strange, salty smell that didn't remind Sarah of the ocean. It was different, older, somehow, more mysterious. She watched as Tom began to secure his boat, his movements quick and nervous. "You need to go home," Tom said again, his voice sharp with worry. "Right now." But Sarah was not the type of person to simply walk away. The stone in her pocket felt heavy, almost alive. She could feel its warmth spreading through her jacket, touching her skin. Something was calling to her, something hidden beneath the water's surface. "What's happening, Tom?" she asked, taking another step closer to the boat. The old fisherman looked around carefully. The mist was getting thicker, blocking out the village behind them. It was like they were alone in a world of gray and white, with only the wooden dock and the rocking boat breaking the stillness. "There are stories," Tom began, his voice dropping to a whisper. Old stories that most people have forgotten. Stories about something that lives deep in these waters. Something that has been waiting. Sarah's heart raced. She had heard whispers from her grandfather about old tales, about secrets hidden in their small fishing village, but she had always thought they were just stories, nothing more than myths to scare children. Suddenly, a sound came from the water. It was not a splash, not a wave. It was something else, a low, deep rumble that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Tom's face went pale. "Get back," he shouted, but Sarah was already moving closer to the water's edge. The stone in her pocket was burning now. Not a painful burn, but a strange, warm feeling that spread through her body. She could feel something calling to her, something ancient, something powerful. A dark shape moved beneath the water's surface. It was too big to be a fish, too strange to be anything Sarah had ever seen before. For a moment, she thought she saw something like an eye, huge and dark, and older than time itself. Looking back at her, Tom was shouting something, but Sarah couldn't hear him. The world had gone quiet. All she could hear was the beating of her own heart and the strange, ancient call coming from deep beneath the waves. Sarah's grandmother, Elena, was preparing breakfast when she felt something change. The kitchen felt different. The air seemed to grow thick, and the old copper kettle on the stove began to vibrate ever so slightly. She knew something was wrong. With quick steps, Elena moved to the drawer where she kept her most important things. Hidden beneath old letters and family photographs was a small wooden box. Her hand shook slightly as she opened it. Inside lay a map, an old yellow document that had been passed down through generations of her family. The map was different from any other. Strange symbols marked certain places, and lines connected points that made no sense to anyone but her family. At the center of the map was a circle drawn in faded red ink, right where the village sat near the ocean. Meanwhile, down at the dock, Tom was trying to pull Sarah back, but she seemed frozen, her eyes fixed on the water. The dark shape beneath the surface continued to move, creating small waves that lapped against the wooden posts. "Sarah," Tom shouted, "we need to leave." But Sarah didn't move. The stone in her pocket was now glowing with a soft, silver light that no one else could see. It pulsed in rhythm with something deep beneath the water, like a heartbeat, ancient and powerful. Back in the kitchen, Elena grabbed the map and an old leather bag. She knew what was happening. The stories her own grandmother had told her were coming true. Something that had been waiting for generations was about to wake up. The entire village seemed to hold its breath. Dogs stopped barking. Birds went quiet. Even the wind seemed to pause. A low rumble began to build. It started deep under the water, then grew louder. Tom felt the dock shake beneath his feet. Sarah remained perfectly still, her eyes now reflecting something strange, something that wasn't entirely human. The stone in her pocket continued to glow. Elena grabbed her coat and rushed out of the house. She knew she had to reach the dock. She knew she had to reach Sarah before it was too late. Something was coming. Something that had been sleeping for hundreds of years. Something that would change everything forever. And it was coming right now. The water began to change. It wasn't like a normal wave or tide. Something was rising from the depths, something massive and ancient. Tom had seen many strange things in his years of fishing, but nothing like this. Sarah stood perfectly still. The stone in her pocket was now burning with a bright light that seemed to come from inside her. Her eyes were different, no longer the clear blue they had always been. Now they had flecks of silver, like the stone itself. Elena ran down the path to the dock, her old legs moving faster than they had in years. She clutched the map tightly, her breath coming in short, sharp gasps. The map was more than just paper now. It felt alive in her hands, the red circle at the center almost pulsing with energy. Slowly, a shape began to emerge from the water. It wasn't a boat. It wasn't a creature anyone could easily describe. Parts of it looked like rock, but other parts moved like water. It was big, bigger than the entire dock, bigger than most buildings in the village. "Sarah!" Elena shouted, but her voice seemed to get lost in the strange mist that was growing thicker by the second. Tom was frozen. His hands gripped the side of his boat so tightly that his knuckles turned white. He wanted to run, but he couldn't move. Something was holding him in place. The thing from the water continued to rise. Water cascaded off its surface, but it wasn't like normal water. It moved differently, almost like living liquid that refused to simply fall and splash. Sarah took a step forward, then another. The stone in her pocket was now completely visible, its silver light spreading out around her like a shield. Tom could see it now. The stone was changing Sarah. Something was happening to her. Elena reached the edge of the dock. She could see everything now. The rising shape, Sarah's changed form, the strange light. The map in her hands began to move, its lines shifting and changing as if it were alive. "It's time," Elena whispered. But time for what? No one knew. The thing from the water kept rising. Parts of it looked like ancient buildings. Other parts looked like living creatures frozen in stone. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Sarah took another step forward. The water around her began to move, but not like normal water. It moved with purpose, with intelligence, with something that was definitely not natural. And then everything stopped. For just a moment, the entire world seemed to hold its breath.